Next, let's see an example of for loop. So in the previous video, we have seen an example to print the number between 1 to n using a while loop. Now let's try to change this solution to a for loop solution. So here we can see there are the four component initialization, test, loop body and update. Now let's try to formulate it into a for loop. So for loop, like all the three component initialization, updation and test are within the for statement. So the first part is the initialization. So let's declare I int I equals to 1. The next part was test. So the test condition is I is less than equals to n, and finally the update condition, update statement, which is I plus plus. So this will be the corresponding for loop for the while loop that we have written here. Now within the for block, we have to write the loop body, which is cout I enter. Now let's comment this section and try to run this program. So we'll copy paste. This will be the loop termination, and let's run it. So if we enter 5, the first 5 numbers gets printed. Now one thing to note here is the variable I is only defined within this for statement. So if I try to print I here, I'll definitely get some error. See here, use of I is not allowed because I is not defined in this code. So we can only access I in the for construct. Next, let's see a more difficult example, you can say. So previously we have discussed a program where we input marks of students for physics, chemistry and marks, and evaluate average and then print failed first division or second division. We use this example in our decision making statement section. So I'll tweak this example a little bit. So instead of entering marks for a single student, what we'll do is we'll input the marks for n students. So we can assume that a class contains n students, and we have to input the marks, evaluate the average, and then print failed first division or second division individually for each student. So I have the code written for a single student. Now assume that I have to do the same for 5 students. If you don't know loops, one way to do it is to write this code 5 times. So it will execute 5 times. It will ask you to input number 5 times, evaluate average, and then print whatever division that student lies in. So, but since we now know loops, we can take the leverage of loops and execute this block 5 times or n times in this example. So let's try to run the code. So first what we'll do is we'll take n, which is the number of students in the class. Let's input the number n. Since we in this example we are printing statements for user help, let's print a statement saying enter number of students. We input the number of students. Next, what we have to do is we have to execute these set of statements in a loop, and we have to execute them n times. So since this video is for loop, we'll be using for loop. So let's write a for loop that executes n time. So what we'll do is for initialization, let's create a loop counter I and assign it to 1. The value is assigned 1. This should run till the value of I reaches n, and in each iteration the value of I is incremented by 1. So this loop will get executed n times. Now let's add all these statements in the for loop body, and I think we are done. Yep. So this whole set of statements will get executed n times. Let's try to build this and see if we have written the code correctly. Okay, I think yeah, it runs successfully. So let's the first input the first message that we are getting is enter the number of students. Let's take 2. So enter physics marks 40, maths mark 56, chemistry mark 78, and we're getting second division. Now it starts asking the number, like the physics marks for the second student. So let's enter again 49, 58, 67, and we get second division, and the program terminate. So the whole code what we have written in the decision making statement section is executed twice because of for loop. So that's all for this video. I hope that you have a basic understanding of how for loop works. That's it.